I never thought I'd be the kind of man who'd track his wife's phone. 5 years of marriage, and we'd built something I thought was solid. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue, one of those easy connections where conversation flowed like we'd known each other for years. 6 months later, I proposed. It felt right. No games, no drama, just two people who fit together. Or so I thought. Emma had quit her marketing job after we got married, said she wanted to focus on starting an online boutique. The business never quite materialized, but I didn't mind carrying the financial load. My construction management company was doing well, and I liked the idea of her being home when I got back from long days on job sites. We'd been talking about kids lately, casually mentioning names we liked, imagining what our life would look like with little feet running around. That Tuesday evening started like any other. I pulled into our driveway at 6:15, tired but satisfied after overseeing the final walkthrough on a commercial renovation. The house was quiet when I walked in, which wasn't unusual. Emma often took afternoon naps or got lost in her phone, scrolling through social media for business inspiration that never seemed to lead anywhere. My phone buzzed as I was loosening my work boots. "Hey, honey," her voice was bright, slightly breathless through the speaker. "I'm going to be late tonight. Andrew finally found a place and needs help moving. You know how he is, probably waited until the last minute to pack anything." I switched the phone to speaker and walked to the kitchen. "Oh, that's great. Where'd he end up finding something?" I asked. "Some townhouse across town. Nothing fancy, but it'll be good for him to get out of that apartment. The landlord was driving him crazy," she replied. "Want me to come help? I could grab the truck," and I offered. No, he's got plenty of hands already. His work buddies are there. Just heat up the leftover lasagna, okay? I should be home around 10, she interrupted. "All right, tell Andrew I said congrats on the new place," I responded. "Will do, love you," she said. "Love you too," I answered. The line went dead and I stood there staring at the phone. Something felt off. It took me a moment to place what was bothering me. 2 weeks ago at my in-laws' anniversary barbecue, Andrew had spent 20 minutes complaining about his landlord, the guy who kept raising the rent, the broken dishwasher that took a month to fix, the neighbor's dog that wouldn't stop barking. But he'd never mentioned moving. In fact, when my father-in-law had suggested he start looking for a new place, Andrew had laughed and said he was too lazy to deal with the hassle. I tried to shake the feeling. Maybe he'd been looking quietly. Maybe something had happened since then that forced his hand. But the more I thought about it, the more wrong it felt. Andrew wasn't the type to keep secrets, especially about something as big as moving. I lasted 10 minutes before I picked up my phone and dialed his number. "Hey man, what's up?" Andrew sounded relaxed, the TV playing in the background. "Not much, just wanted to say congrats on the new place," I said. "Silence, what new place?" he asked, confused. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a step going downstairs. "The townhouse. Emma said you're moving today," I explained. "Dude, I'm not moving anywhere. I'm sitting on my couch watching Netflix and eating pizza." "What are you talking about?" he replied, concern creeping into his voice. The phone felt heavy in my hand. "Where are you right now?" I asked. "Home, same apartment I've been complaining about for 2 years. Why, what's going on?" he responded. I could hear the worry in his voice, but my mind was already racing ahead, calculating. "I need you to get in your car and meet me. Right now," I said. "What, why?" he asked. "I'll explain on the way. Meet me at the Shell station off exit 34. How fast can you get there?" I said. 20 minutes if I leave right now, but," he started. "Leave right now," I interrupted. I was already grabbing my keys. What? My hands were steady on the steering wheel, but my mind was spinning like a drill bit. 20 minutes of highway stretched ahead before I'd reach Andrew, and every mile felt like an hour. I kept replaying the phone call, searching for something I'd missed, some innocent explanation for why my wife had lied to my face. The phone rang through my truck speakers. "Andrew." "All right, I'm in the car. You want to tell me what the hell is going on?" he asked. I laid it out for him, clinical and direct. The call about helping him move. The townhouse he knew nothing about. The certainty in her voice when she'd told me she'd be home around 10. Andrew was quiet for a long moment. "That's Jesus. Are you sure she said my name specifically?" he finally asked. "She said you finally found a place and needed help moving. Your work buddies were helping. She knew exactly what she was talking." "NG about," I replied. "My work buddies don't even know where I live," he said grimly. The highway lights streamed past my windshield in yellow blurs. "I know this sounds crazy, but I started. It doesn't sound crazy. It sounds like Emma's lying. Question is why, he interrupted. That was the question, wasn't it? I'd never had reason to doubt her before. Sure, our marriage wasn't perfect. Whose was? But we didn't fight, didn't have trust issues. She'd never given me cause for suspicion, which somehow made this worse. If I couldn't trust my own instincts about the person I shared a bed with, what could I trust? Maybe she's planning something, Andrew suggested, though he didn't sound convinced. Anniversary surprise or something. Our anniversary was 3 months ago, I answered. Birthday, he tried again. Not for another 4 months, I replied. Andrew sighed heavily through the speaker. Okay, so probably not a surprise party. The Shell station came into view, harsh fluorescent lights cutting through the darkness. Andrew was already there, leaning against his Honda Civic, arms crossed. Even from a distance, I could see the tension in his posture. This wasn't his sister playing games anymore. This was his brother-in-law asking for help with something that might destroy his family. I pulled up next to him and rolled down my window. You ready for this? I asked. Ready for what exactly? What's the plan? He responded, walking closer. I held up my phone. Find my friends. We linked our phones a couple years ago after that hiking trip when I got separated from the group, I explained. Andrew's expression darkened. You're going to track her, he said. She lied about where she was. She used your name to cover for wherever she really is. I pulled up the app, my thumb hovering over her contact. Whatever we find, we deal with it, but I need to know, I said. And if she's, he started, then stopped. If she's what? I pressed. If she's with someone else, he finally asked. The question hung in the air between us like smoke. I'd been dancing around it for the last 30 miles, but Andrew had said it out loud. The possibility that my wife wasn't helping anyone move, that she was somewhere else entirely, with someone else entirely. Then I need to know that too, I answered. I tapped her name. The app loaded and a blue dot appeared on the map. Not at Andrew's apartment complex. Not at any moving truck rental place. The location showed a residential street I didn't recognize about 25 minutes from here. Andrew leaned through my window to look at the screen. Maplewood Drive, you know anyone over there? He asked. I stared at the dot, perfectly still, not moving. She'd been there for a while. No, I said. Could be a friend's place. Could be she's actually helping someone move and just got the details wrong about who, he suggested, though we both knew he was grasping. Let's find out, I said. Andrew nodded and walked back to his car. I plugged the address into my GPS and pulled out of the station. 25 minutes to whatever was waiting for us at that blue dot. 25 minutes to find out if my marriage was a lie. The drive was hypnotic, dark roads, sparse traffic, the GPS voice calmly directing me toward what might be the end of everything I thought I knew. Andrew followed behind me, his headlights steady in my rearview mirror. Whatever we found, I wouldn't face it alone. As we turned onto Maplewood Drive, a quiet residential street lined with modest single-family homes, I saw it immediately. Emma's white Honda Accord, parked in the driveway of a small ranch house like it belonged there. Like she'd been there before. What? I sat in my truck for 30 seconds, staring at my wife's car. It looked so ordinary sitting there, so innocent. Just a white sedan in a driveway. But seeing it felt like a punch to the chest, confirmation of something I wasn't ready to accept. Andrew pulled up behind me and got out first. His face was hard, the easygoing brother-in-law replaced by someone I'd only seen glimpses of, the Marine who'd done 2 tours before settling into civilian life. He walked up to my window. That's her car, he said grimly. Yeah, I replied. You want to call her first, give her a chance to explain, he asked. I considered it for about 3 seconds. Explain what? That she's not where she said she'd be, that she lied about what she was doing. I shook my head. No, if there's an innocent explanation, we'll find out when we knock. And if there isn't, he pressed. I got out of the truck, then we'll find that out too. The house was small, probably built in the 70s, with a neat front lawn and warm light glowing through sheer curtains. It looked like the kind of place where young couples started families, where kids rode bikes in the driveway and neighbors borrowed cups of sugar. It looked normal, safe. The kind of place where married women helped friends move furniture, not TH. Kind of place where they destroyed their marriages. Andrew and I walked up the front path together. My heart was pounding now, but my mind felt crystal clear. Whatever was behind that door, I was going to face it head-on. Andrew raised his hand to knock, then paused. "You sure about this?" he asked. "Do it," I answered. 3 sharp knocks echoed through the quiet evening. We heard movement inside, footsteps, then a man's voice saying something I couldn't make out. The voice was unfamiliar, casual, like he was calling to someone in another room. The door opened. A man stood there, probably mid-30s, average height, wearing a gray terracloth robe and nothing else that I could see. His hair was damp, like he'd just gotten out of the shower. He looked at us with mild confusion, the expression of someone interrupted during a relaxing evening at home. "Can I help you?" he asked politely, though slightly annoyed. His tone suggested he thought we were door-to-door salesmen who'd shown up at dinner time. He had no idea who we were, no recognition in his eyes. Just a stranger in a bathrobe wondering why 2 men were standing on his porch after dark. Andrew didn't say a word. He pushed the door open hard, and the man stumbled backward, his hand instinctively tightening his robe. "What the hell?" the man started. I stepped inside behind Andrew, and the small entryway opened into a living room that made my chest tighten. The lights were dimmed. A bottle of wine sat open on the coffee table next to 2 glasses, one with lipstick marks on the rim. Soft music played from somewhere, something I didn't recognize, but that felt intimate, romantic. And there on the couch was my wife. Emma was wearing a white silk robe, her hair damp like his, her face flushed. When she saw us, the color drained from her cheeks completely. She shot to her feet so fast the robe slipped off one shoulder, and she grabbed at it, trying to cover herself while her mouth opened and closed like a fish. "What are you? How did you? This isn't," she stammered. The man in the gray robe stepped between us and Emma, his confusion turning to anger. "Who the hell are you people? You can't just barge in here. I'm calling the police," he threatened. Andrew grabbed him by the front of his robe and slammed him back against the wall. "Go ahead and call them. Tell them you're sleeping with another man's wife," he snarled. I moved toward Emma, my eyes locked on her face. She was backing up, hands raised like I was going to hit her. The fear in her eyes should have stopped me, should have made me feel something other than this cold rage building in my chest. "It's not what it looks like," she said, the words tumbling out in a panic. "This is just, I can explain, it's not what you think." "Just what?" My voice sounded strange to me, too calm, too controlled. "Just having a glass of wine in your underwear with a man I've never met," I asked. "You followed me," her voice cracked, and I realized she was crying now. "You tracked my phone, you brought my brother here, how could you do that?" she accused. The accusation hit me like a slap. She was angry at me. Standing there in another man's house, wearing nothing but a robe, and she was angry at me for finding her. "I called Andrew to congratulate him on his new place," I said, stepping closer. She flinched. Imagine my surprise when he told me he wasn't moving. The man against the wall tried to push Andrew off. "Get your hands off me, you psycho. This is my house. You're trespassing," he protested. Andrew hit him, once hard, across the jaw. The man went down to his knees and Andrew stood over him. "Your house, your rules, right? Well, that's my sister, and that's my brother-in-law, so now it's my rules," he growled. Emma was sobbing now, mascara running down her cheeks in black streams. "You don't understand. You're never home. You don't see me anymore. I was lonely. This just happened. It wasn't planned," she pleaded. "How long?" I asked coldly. "What?" she replied. "How long has this just been happening?" I pressed. She hesitated, and I knew the answer before she said it. "A few months," she whispered. A few months, not a moment of weakness, not a mistake. Months of planning, lying, sneaking around. Months of looking me in the eye every morning and every night while she lived a double life. The man on the floor was groaning, holding his jaw, blood seeping between his fingers. He looked up at Andrew. "I didn't know she was married," he said desperately. Andrew and I both turned to look at Emma. Her face went white again. "I told him I was separated," she whispered. "I said we were getting divorced." That broke something in me, not just the affair, not just the lying, but the calculated nature of it. She'd been planning for this, setting up her next relationship while still sharing my bed. She'd been auditioning my replacement. The man struggled to his feet, using the wall for support. "Is this true? Are you not Getty?" "NG divorced?" he asked Emma. Emma looked between us, trapped. "It's complicated," she said weakly. "It's not complicated," I said. "We're married, we live together, we sleep in the same bed every night. She told you we were separated so you'd feel better about sleeping with her." The man's face changed, reality settling in. "Jesus Christ, Emma, you told me," he started. "Shut up," she screamed at him, then whirled on me. "You want to know the truth? Fine. Yes, I've been seeing Todd. Yes, I lied about it, but you drove me to this. You're never home, you don't talk to me, you don't see me anymore. I felt invisible. I stared at her, this woman I'd promised to love and honor, and felt nothing but cold disgust. Pack your things. You have 3 days, I said. You can't just, she started. 3 days. After that, whatever's left goes to Goodwill, I interrupted. I turned to Andrew. Let's go. As we walked toward the door, Emma grabbed my arm. Please, we can work this out. I'll end it with him. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything, she begged. I looked down at her hand on my sleeve, then at her tear-stained face. You already did everything. This is the result, I replied. We left her standing in that living room, crying, while Todd held a dish rag to his bleeding nose. I didn't look back. What? I didn't go home that night. The thought of sleeping in the bed where Emma had lied to me for months made my skin crawl. Instead, I checked into a highway motel, the kind of place with thin walls and scratchy sheets that rented rooms by the hour. I sat on the edge of the bed for 2 hours, staring at the faded wallpaper, my mind completely blank. My phone buzzed constantly. Text after text from Emma, each one more desperate than the last. I'm sorry, we can fix this. Please come home, I love you, it meant nothing. I turned the phone face down and tried to sleep. By 7 a.m., I was making phone calls. Hartwell and Associates Family Law, how can I help you? The receptionist answered. I need to see someone today about a divorce. It's urgent, I said. I can get you in with Miss Hartwell at 9 a.m. if you're available, she replied. I'll be there, I confirmed. Madeline Hartwell was exactly what I needed. A woman in her 50s with steel gray hair and eyes that had seen every possible way marriages could implode. Her office walls were lined with law books and framed certifications, but no family photos. This was someone who understood that love stories often ended in litigation. I told her everything. The lie about Andrew, the tracking, the confrontation, Emma's admission that the affair had been going on for months. Ms. Hartwell took notes without judgment, occasionally asking clarifying questions about timelines and assets. In this state, adultery affects both asset division and potential alimony, she said when I finished. But you'll need documentation if you want to pursue a fault-based divorce. Do you have any proof beyond what you witnessed? Not yet, I replied. Then we need to get some, quickly before she has a chance to cover her tracks, she advised. That afternoon, while Emma left increasingly frantic voicemails, I went home with a purpose. She was staying at her mother's. I'd heard that much from one of her messages, which gave me time to search without interruption. Her laptop was still on the kitchen table where she'd left it, password protected but not encrypted. She'd always been careless about security, using the same password for everything, our wedding date. Within an hour, I had screenshots of months of text messages with Todd, explicit photos they'd exchanged, and email chains discussing weekend getaways I'd never known about. But the financial records were what really made my blood boil. Our joint credit card showed charges I didn't recognize, dinners at expensive restaurants while I was working late, hotel rooms during my business trips, lingerie purchases from stores she'd never shopped at for me. She'd been funding her affair with our money, making me an unwitting accomplice in my own betrayal. I documented everything. Screenshots, printed statements, receipts. By the time I was done, I had enough evidence to crucify her in court. The next morning, Ms. Hartwell filed for divorce citing adultery with a comprehensive exhibit list that would make Emma's attorney sick to his stomach. But I wasn't done. Todd worked at a boutique gym downtown, one of those places where wealthy women paid premium prices for personal training and overpriced smoothies. A quick Google search gave me the corporate office number. I'd like to report a concern about one of your trainers, I told the manager when I called. I have evidence that he's been engaging in inappropriate relationships with married clients. I emailed them selected screenshots of the text messages, carefully edited to remove Emma's identifying information while making it clear that Todd was involved with a married woman. Within 48 hours, he was terminated. Ed for violating company policy. Emma's family needed to know, not for revenge, but because I knew she'd try to spin this as somehow being my fault. Her mother deserved to hear the truth before Emma could poison that well. I sent her parents a calm, factual email explaining the situation. No emotion, no accusations beyond what I could prove. Just the facts. Emma had been having an affair, she'd been lying about it for months, and our marriage was over. I attached a few of the less explicit text messages as evidence. Her mother called me within an hour, sobbing. "I'm so sorry. I don't understand how she could do this to you. You've been nothing but good to her," she said through tears. Her father never called, but Andrew told me later that he'd driven over to his parents' house and spent an hour screaming at Emma about what she'd done to the family's reputation. The legal machinery moved faster than I'd expected. Emma's attorney tried to negotiate, arguing that my invasion of privacy should limit what evidence could be used against her. Ms. Hartwell shut that down immediately. In a fault-based divorce, the cheated spouse has the right to investigate suspected adultery. 3 months after that night on Maplewood Drive, we sat in a conference room while a mediator read the final terms. No alimony for Emma. The house remained mine, purchased before our marriage and protected by the prenuptial agreement she'd mocked me for insisting on. She kept her car, her personal belongings, and about $8,000 from our joint savings. Todd, meanwhile, was working at a big-box gym for half his previous salary. Emma signed the papers without looking at me. When it was over, she finally spoke. "I hope you're happy," she said bitterly. "I'm free," I replied. "That's enough." What? The divorce was finalized on a gray Thursday in November. I signed the papers in Ms. Hartwell's office, shook her hand, and walked out into the cold air feeling strangely empty. Not relieved, not vindicated, just hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left the shell behind. Emma moved to Tennessee within a month, supposedly to be closer to Todd's family. I heard through mutual friends that they were trying to make it work, that she was calling it a fresh start. The news felt like background noise, something happening to strangers in a story I was no longer part of. The social fallout split our friend group down the middle. Some people, mostly wives who'd always found Emma charming, whispered that I'd been cruel, that ruining her life was excessive punishment for a moment of weakness. They didn't know about the months of planning, the financial betrayal, the calculated lies. They only saw the dramatic ending, not the methodical destruction that had led to it. But the people who mattered saw through her narrative. Andrew became closer to me than he'd ever been, calling every week, inviting me to family dinners even though I was technically no longer family. I appreciated the gesture but kept my distance. Being around happy families felt like looking at a life I'd never have. Work became my sanctuary. I threw myself into projects with an intensity that surprised even me. 12-hour days became 14-hour days. My crew noticed I was quieter, harder, but also sharper. Details that might have slipped past me before now got caught immediately. Problems that used to frustrate me became puzzles to solve with mechanical precision. The company promoted me to regional manager within 6 months. The pay increase was substantial, enough to renovate the house completely. I gutted the master bedroom first, tearing out everything that reminded me of Emma. New flooring, new paint, new furniture. It felt good to swing a sledgehammer through walls that had witnessed her lies. I went on a few dates after the first year. Nothing serious, dinner, a movie, carefully neutral conversations that stayed safely away from relationship talk. Most women could sense I wasn't ready for anything real. I found I didn't trust easily anymore, watching for small inconsistencies, moments when someone's words didn't match their actions. It wasn't paranoia exactly, just a hard-earned awareness that people weren't always who they pretended to be. The house, once a symbol of everything Emma and I were building together, became mine alone. I replaced her decorative touches with practical improvements. The guest room she'd used for her online business became a home office. Her garden became a workshop space. Every change felt like reclaiming territory. One evening last month, I was sitting on the back deck with a beer, looking out at the yard I'd been slowly transforming into something purely functional. No flower beds, no decorative touches, just clean lines and purposeful design. My phone buzzed with a text from Andrew. "Emma's back in town. Thought you should know." I read it twice, waiting for some emotional reaction. Anger, curiosity, even mild interest, but nothing calm. She was just another person now. Someone who'd once been important but had chosen to make herself irrelevant. I deleted the text and finished my beer. People ask me if I ever loved her. I did. That's why it hurt. That's also why I didn't look back when she showed me who she really was. Love doesn't mean you let someone destroy you. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away clean and let them live with the consequences of their choices. I'm not the villain in her story, and she's not the victim in mine. We're just two people who made different decisions when our marriage was tested. I chose to survive with my integrity intact. She chose, whatever she chose. I don't think about her much anymore, and when I do, I feel nothing. And that's exactly how I want it. And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.